Hey, this is Joshua with New Review, coming at you with a new review on the Rooster Teeth animated series Camp Camp. So last when we left off, we had seen a lot of interesting characters come in. One of these characters was known as Germy Farts, and in this episode, we re-met some characters, but a little bit of housekeeping before we continue. There's actually 4 episodes that we're going to talk about. These are the episode Jeremy Farts, Jasper Dies at the End, Quartermaster Appreciation Day, and Bonjour Bonk. So 4 episodes actually. And we're going to go through each episode one by one, and then, we'll leave out from there. So the first episode was Jeremy Farts, and in this episode, the campers are trying to not be taken over by the Pine Scouts, or at least one of their campers. And the Pine Scouts have this little fun thing they like to do, that if they win, they get the entire camp for themselves because they are a super militaristic camp that doesn't appear to be very good at getting recruits. So this is one of the recurring gags. Again, this series seems to be fairly episodic. And the entire episode, they're trying not make fun, be mean to people, and it's very hard to not be mean to Jeremy Farts, because he's just so disgusting and so unsuited for where he is right now. But somehow they're able to make fun of him after not the entire time because of David, the nicest of the characters, and they lose Jeremy Farts in a very clever move by Neil, so they don't actually lose someone they actually like. Of course, that would have been a lot. Of course, it would have been a very interesting argument to see who's the best camper, because that was who would be lost. All right, on to the next episode. Jasper dies at the end. So, in this episode, it's a little bit of a flashback for David. It's actually a story he's telling as he's taking Max, Nikki, Neil, and Space Kid to the hospital to get Space Kid out of a cardboard rocket that Max glued him into. And David's just trying to show Max how anyone can become a great camper. And in this episode, we find out David was not the best camper. He was kind of clean-mouthed Max, and Jasper was a character that we had met last season. Turns out he was a ghost. And as the name implies, we all thought Jasper was going to die at the end. Turns out he did not. So that was a very interesting turn of events, you could say. And in this, we kind of see Cameron at his worst. And by worst, I mean finest. He also kills a couple of bears, which was actually kind of a cool sequence to watch. And we see David switch from being this bad camper to the kind of person we see now. And we see Jasper go the other way because he was originally supposed to be the Sparrow, which was a thing from the last season that kind of made it a little bit less episodic. And because of the return of these elements, this season it may be shifting away from an episodic model to closer to a serial model, but that's as yet to be seen. Following week was Quartermaster Appreciation Day episode, and that was an exploration of Quartermaster, and there are some crazy things with his family, because the whole point was to appreciate Quartermaster, because when we meet him, he's hanging upside down, tied to a fan, which was interesting to say the least. And the entire episode, they're trying to reconnect him to his cousin, sister, I don't know. All I know is I did not want to see when Quartermaster and his relative were together, because those two. You'll have to watch it. It was an interesting episode. And And then the most recent episode was Bonjour Bonquisha. So Bonquisha was a character we had also met last season through David's Tinder. And apparently they'd continue dating. There's this little sequence where Max climbs up David, and I actually had to go back and see it four times. It was just very entertaining. And the entire time they're trying to get David over Bonquisha because they broke up, and I guess David wasn't entirely prepared for that. Um, yeah, it was really interesting to watch. Um, Also interesting to see David punch someone in the face. Um, so yeah, overall it was a very interesting last few episodes. I would suggest you guys check it out because the writing is very mature for a series that takes place at a summer camp with kids, and it's very immersive, and it really does take you on an experience that I think is something that we would not expect. Although, and this would have been cliched, I would have preferred the opening theme song of Bonjour Bonquisha with David to be crying the entire time, just to see if Miles could do it. And for funniness. Because there are a lot of laughs. There are some like real laugh out loud moments in each episode. Um, so yeah, that is this season of Camp so far. Y'all should check it out. This is Joshua with New Review signing off.